Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to create this Canada flag with the 4 different components here using the joint feature that's offered in Fusion. So the first thing you have to do is create a new assembly and save it. So I will call this one Canada flag assembly. And because I've already made one, I'll call it number 2. And then I will pick the project folder that I'd like to put it in. And I'll just put it in here, intro to drafting. And I will press save. So once I've done that, I can just drag in the different components that I want to drag in. So the first one that I'll drag in is this middle one. And so I just drag it in here. And then you can move it around. So you can move it in each of the axes. And then you can also rotate it. So for this activity, we're just going to have it start kind of near the origin, and I'm going to press OK. So I've got my first component, and you can see it right here in the bill of material. I can rotate it, and I've already made it white to reflect the color. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag in this Canada flag maple leaf. So I drag it in. And again, I can move it back and forth and rotate it. I like to start with it to be in the right kind of orientation. And now I have to join them. So I want them to be sort of glued together so that if I move one of them, the other one is stuck with it and it moves. So I'm going to click on this joint function here. And there's a couple of different ways that you can do it. For this one, we'll just keep it simple. And so what I like to do is I pick the midpoint of this line here. And then I'm going to find the midpoint of the other line, the corresponding line. And so I just zoom in and out, and I'll find that midpoint. And now they've joined together. So right now the offset is 0, but if I didn't want them to be equal in terms of their phase, I could change this to be 10, or I could move it back, depending on what you want it to look like. So I want the maple leaf to be stick out a little bit. So I'm going to make it an offset of -1 there. And so now I have 2 components that are joined. So if this one moves, this inside white piece, the white one or the red one will move as well. That's my joint that tells me that they're stuck together. And then here in the timeline, you can see it right there. So I've got 2 components and one of them is joined to the other. I can turn it on and off like that. So now I'm going to go and find the other pieces that I've made, and it will be this one here, this Canada flag outside piece. So I'll just drag it in here, and I'm going to move it over so it's easier to see. And I'm just going to zoom out so you guys can see what it will look like. And again, I'm going to do the joint function, and I'm going to pick the midpoint there and the midpoint there. And this one moves. You might think that this one isn't going to move, but once I press OK, then they're all stuck together. And again, I can turn joints on and off. All right, so we've got one more component that we need to drag in. So it's just this one again. So we'll have a quantity of 2. So I'm going to drag that one in. And I don't want it to be in the exact same spot. So I'm just going to move it over here so it's easy for me to see. And I'm going to use my joint feature again. And I'm going to click the midpoints for each of them. It's just a bit stuck. There we go. And now you've got this flag. And so if I moved this piece here, they would all move with it. So what you guys are going to do now is you're going to create a technical drawing, just like we've done in the previous assignments. And you're going to give me the overall dimensions for this. And you will submit the technical drawing for me based on the assembly that you've created. If you've got any questions, please let me know in class. Thanks.